in, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. We've got the full panel today. How's it going, everybody?
I'm doing good. I'll let everybody else answer first before I go ahead and talk.
Doing better than Aziz El Shair, I can tell you that much.
Who's that?
The guy that put that hit on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Why did his fine finally come down?
So, because of his 3-game suspension, he was voided his $9 million guarantee in his 2025 salary.
Ooh, here we go.
And he missed over $300,000 worth of game checks this year, but because of him missing a certain amount of games, he's now going to miss his $9 million guarantee for next year.
Oh yeah, he's an idiot.
I hope that hit was worth it.
Yeah, he's an idiot. I mean, what an idiot, man.
That's $10 million. That's basically a $10 million. That's counting the $900,000 he's missing this year. That's basically a $10 million hit.
You know, the thing that's funny is if he didn't lead with the forearm, he would have got a fine, but it wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
He would have still got a 1-game suspension because of his history, but it wouldn't have been like 3 games.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's true, right? Because Lawrence did slide a little bit late. Yeah. Like, had he not dove into the contact the way that he did, had he still hit him, but like pushed off him to try and, make it look like he was
or like rolled over him.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for an attempt to like get out of the way.
Yeah. Like you're still getting the flag, you're still getting a fine. Yeah. But
that might be the biggest fine in NFL history right there. It's essentially a $10 million fine.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's not a $10 million fine, so they can't call it that way.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it cost him basically $10 million.
Yeah, it cost him
that going into his pocket.
Yeah. By the way, Pag, so Dobbins went on the IR Saturday, so he won't be available. If he was to be available, it would be in the playoffs. He won't. You won't see him the rest of the regular season. Yeah. And I don't even know. Can you come off the IR and go into the playoffs? Is that a possible thing, or are you stuck on the IR if you don't make it?
I don't think that matters anymore. I think that when you go in the IR, you're there for at least 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Put him, which means he wouldn't be available until the second week of the playoffs or second game of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Nice. Welcome home, Mac. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. Yep. That's awesome news.
Oh, that is awesome.
Mac, just in case anybody doesn't know, Mac is our fearless leader and presidente of National Streaming Sports.
Yep.
Hey, but don't come back running too soon, Mac. Take your time, brother. We want to make sure you're healthy, brother. Make sure you're all the way there.
Since we're making quick announcements like that, like happy announcements like that, I have to give a big shout out to Jamie Jr. Turned 16 today. He's made it. He's about to go get his physical and then go get his driver's permit. So look out. There's going to be another Jamie driving. Actually, he doesn't go by Jamie. He doesn't go by Jamie. He goes by James.
Jay, to answer your question about before, J.K. Dobbins will not be eligible to return in the playoffs.
Oh,
because you have 2 different IRs. You have the regular IR, and then you have that IR that's designated to return.
Yeah.
But each team can only add 1 player to that IR designated to return. So if he's not added to that designated to return IR, he's not eligible for the playoffs.
Wow. So who is their lead running back now? Now that Dobbins is out, who's
Gus Edwards, who really doesn't do much.
That's right, Gus Edwards. That's right. Hey, cool question. Where were you at on the waiver priority? Were you like 5 on the waiver priority? Because you took Ford from me. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, I did take Ford just for this week because Najee Harris is playing the Ravens. I'm not starting him against the Ravens.
I hate you, man. That's why.
So we don't even get ours until Thursday. That's when all the waivers go through is on Thursday. So tomorrow I have to see who I get because I'll either get Penix or I'll get Ford, or maybe I'll get both.
Yeah.
My man Sean.
All right, Stat Guy. So I know you're like the big Penix guru here. Me and Pags are talking about a pre-show. I got Penix and I got Mayfield. I'm going with Mayfield. But how do you think Penix is going to do in his first game against the Giants? What do you expect?
He's going to have a day against the Giants.
I think he's going to struggle the first quarter just because it's his first game as he's basically the first start. I mean, he played 2 games this year, and so I think a total of like 15 snaps. But like this is his first actual start, so I think he's going to struggle first quarter, maybe part of the second quarter. But by the second half, I think he's going to tear it up.
But would you start Penix over Mayfield? Me and Pax were going with Mayfield, but who? Would
no, I would start Mayfield 100% hands down, just because Mayfield's going to put up better numbers.
Yeah.
But heading into the draft, I was a big fan of Penix because I thought he was the most NFL ready quarterback of the group.
Right.
Just knowing that he transferred from Indiana to Washington, he dealt with so many injuries his entire college career. He basically had to redo his entire throwing motion so he would preserve his shoulder long term. Then he ended up putting up those last 2 years, which were incredible seasons. I thought he was the most NFL ready quarterback in the draft, and I think now that he's got the job, Kirk Cousins isn't going to be back in Atlanta. They're going to trade him.
Who I was going to ask you? So he signed the $100 million guaranteed. He's got $100 million guaranteed money. Is this the last year of his contract, or does he have?
It's technically it's a 4-year deal, but it's technically a 2-year deal because Atlanta can void the last 2 years. The kicker is if he is on Atlanta's roster after June 1st, which is when the new league year starts next year, Atlanta owes him $46 million.
Oh, he'll be good. Well,
if they trade him before June 1st, Atlanta only owes him $27.5 million, and then whatever team trades for him owes him the rest of his contract.
Or the other 20.
Yeah, so there's no way in hell he's going to be back in Atlanta.
No.
Who do you think would bring Cousins in? I mean, well, Cousins already said he wanted to retire.
New Orleans.
Atlanta, so.
New Orleans will bring him in. San Francisco, depending on what they do with Brock Purdy, because they were very close to acquiring him before he signed his last extension in Minnesota, and they were very close to getting him this past offseason. San Francisco's a team that could go get him, and I could even see a team like the Giants or even the Jets, depending on what they do at quarterback, just bringing in Cousins on a 1-year kind of a bridge deal. If you know that
the Giants aren't going to go get him.
Giants
will get him murdered.
Or even the Raiders, like even the Raiders too, where if you know that Cousins only has that 1 more year guaranteed on his contract, bring him in for a 1-year bridge quarterback for your rookie, and then when that 1 year of guaranteed money's off, then let him walk.
Hey, Troy, I don't know that he needs that type of toilet paper. Yeah. When Troy was here, he gave me a Penguins glass. I says, well, at least it's when I go to pee in it, the yellow will look the same.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man.
The big thing that
I appreciate that, Troy. Thank you.
The big thing that I'm curious to see about Penix is he's always been known for his deep ball, but he's also always been known for getting tight ends involved a lot. So I'm very curious to see what he can get out of Kyle Pitts, because Kyle Pitts
had them deep balls and then goes after them tight ends.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kyle Pitts had a 1,000-yard season as a rookie, but he hasn't come close since his rookie season to even reaching that. So I'm curious to see if Penix can get Kyle Pitts more involved. And if he does,
I just think he's going to throw the ball as much as possible to London, because London's on my team. He just needs to throw the hell out of that ball to London, damn it.
It'll be going to Mooney more if he's throwing the deep one.
I don't like you.
Because Mooney's the deep ball threat.
I know. Well,
so
it should be interesting.
It will be. I tell you, it sucks because, like I said, I won last year's fantasy championship, and this year, like this playoff, I actually had a first round bye. In this week, I actually play the guy who I beat in the championship last year.
Nice.
Now, this guy has been in the championship, I think, the last 4 years running.
Wow.
And like he hasn't won a championship. So he's kind of like the Eagles a little bit, where he gets into the championship and doesn't win.
I was going to say the Bills.
but it's going to be tough. Like last week, had I played any of the playoff teams last week, I'd have lost. So because there were so many points last week from the teams that were scoring a lot, this week I am a little more excited, except the fact that I have like 3 of my running backs are hurt. Like I'm getting crushed here on this stuff. So, and then Patrick Mahomes, like So I'm going after both Penix and Richardson because they are the most highly rated. I don't believe in Penix for game one. Like I said, I kind of feel that his stat line is going to be like 17 for 27, about 175 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe a pick.
A lot of that, I think, like I said, will come the second half when he kind of settles in a little bit. I think his first half will be very ugly.
Well, especially because the Giants don't do anything well except rush the passer, right? So that'll be something that will be interesting to watch, especially early. Will be him trying to avoid the pressure. Because I mean, yeah, I don't know if they still do, but they've led the league in sacks for most of the year.
I think they're top. I don't think they do anymore. I think they're top 3 yet.
Yeah, but, I mean, even still, right?
And you can see a situation too where if they know that he's going to get rushed really heavily early, that's when you're going to see like a lot of Bijan early, a lot of Tyler Algier,
a lot of Bijan, and a lot of
Algier.
Going just throwing it to the
exactly
the screen.
And then once the pass rush slows down a little bit, then you'll start seeing him spread it out more.
Yeah.
So, but I am fighting here. Like here's who I have on my IR at the moment. Dobbins. I have Noah Brown from Washington. I have Stephon Diggs, who I had on my IR, but I had to remove him from the IR because I had put Dallas Goedert in there. I'm finally going to drop him. I got Montgomery. I have so yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, 5 guys with Dallas Goedert. 5 guys on my IR.
Man, it's a rough go.
And Patrick Mahomes is playing.
Yeah.
They don't even have him as questionable.
He's playing.
Yeah.
He's going to at least try to play.
So
I mean, on a high ankle sprain, that should be interesting.
Well, really, he has it every year.
He's immune to it by now. Like he could play an entire game on a sprained ankle and not realize how bad it is until after the game is because he's had to deal with it so much already.
I mean, literally going into every playoffs, he has that same injury every year going into the playoffs.
A full participant in practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who are they going up against? Who are they?
Houston on Saturday.
Which I got Pacheco. Would you even play Pacheco against Houston? I think that's going to be a rough call.
I would.
You would?
Absolutely, you would, because they're not going to. Mahomes ain't going to pass much.
And if he does pass, it's going to be like a lot of screen passes to Pacheco and a lot of screen passes to Worthy.
So here's a 3 running backs.
Worthy or to Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got Worthy on my bench.
It's going to if Mahomes is not 100%, he's a little bit hobbled, they're going to do a lot of short 5-6 yard comebackers to Kelsey and Juju, but you're also going to have Pacheco line up for screen passes, and then you're going to have Worthy line up for like those end arounds or the little touch pass where Mahomes gets into like a little touch pass like that, and it counts as passing yards for him.
All right, you got 3 running backs. Who do you bench? I got Pacheco, a combination of Charbonnet, Walker, depending on who gets the start on Sunday, and then Cook.
Sit Charbonnet. They're going against Minnesota's defense, who's really good at stopping the run.
Okay.
Minnesota's like top 3 in the NFL in stopping the run.
So then you would go Pacheco and Cook then, and bench Walker and Charbonnet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
I mean, Charbonnet might get you a touchdown, but typically running backs don't rush for more than 50, 60 yards against Minnesota. So if you don't get a touchdown, you're only getting 5-6 points in total versus at least Pacheco. He's going to catch the ball, so he's going to get you points for that. Same thing with James Cook. He's going to get you a touchdown. He's going to catch out of the backfield.
Right. Okay. There you have it.
All right. So since we're talking about fantasy, let me ask you guys this. Here are my wide receivers. I can start at minimum 2, but as many as 3. DJ Moore going up against Detroit.
Start.
Jameson Williams going up against Chicago. Devonta Smith going up against Washington.
Devontae.
Terry McLaurin going up against Philadelphia. And then Xavier Worthy going up against Houston.
I would play Xavier. He's so streaky. Worthy is. He's gonna get.
Yeah, I would.
Nothing.
How many can you play? 3.
I can play as many as 3.
Sit Worthy out of those 5 for sure.
I have him on my bench.
DJ Moore, I'm starting just because the Lions defense is so battered right now. He's going to get yards, and he had, I think, 16 or 17 points the last time they played the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Williams against Chicago or McLaurin versus Philadelphia?
I'd go Williams against Chicago.
It's a coin flip just because Williams is streaky too, but without David Montgomery, I'm wondering if he's going to get more involved.
That's what I think. And
I would go Williams because Jared Goff's going to have to throw more.
McLaurin got literally shut out last time he played the Eagles.
I would go Williams because Goff's going to have to throw more than what he normally does.
So that's kind of what I have.
And then here's my question then, because I got to decide on 3 of my 4 wide receivers. So I have Jefferson against Seattle.
Yes.
Moore against Detroit.
Probably.
DK Metcalf against Minnesota.
Well, is he hurt?
It doesn't. It's not
matter. Nobody's throwing to him.
And then
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have DK.
And then the other 2 is either Romeo Doubs against the Saints or Williams against the Bears.
Saints. Go up against the Saints.
Yep.
Doubs. Williams is predicted to get more points, but I'll go Doubs against the Saints because I think Doubs will at least get a touchdown. Williams might not get a touchdown. He'll just get the yards.
And Joe, to answer your question here, Kirk Cousins over the last 5 games has 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions. That's why they moved on.
Yeah.
and they're 1-4 in that 5-game stretch. So
he single-handedly took Atlanta from being a number 3 seed and possibly a team that could make some noise in the NFC playoffs where they could win 1, maybe even 2 games depending on how the seeding played out, to now they're on the outside looking in and they may not get in just because their high-paid quarterback forgot how to play quarterback for a month.
Yep.
Pags, you may want to look at McMillan too. I think McMillan for Tampa might do well against Dallas, so especially since they have a terrible secondary right now. That might be a good spot for you.
So against Dallas, what I didn't tell you is that I have Otten. Yeah, they're tight ends.
Yeah, I don't feel good about Otten.
I feel good about Otten because
Otten was one of the top tight ends for fantasy for a while.
For a minute, and then but now
but lately
he's been down the past few weeks.
Because Evans is back.
Huh?
Because Mike Evans is back now, so a lot of the targets that were going Cade Otton's way are now going back to Evans.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think you're going to see a lot of play from him. And the truth of the matter is, I could have him or the Eagles' Grant Calcaterra. And it really is a coin flip to me. I am just going with Otten because he's been there longer. I think Grant Calcaterra could actually have a good game against Washington. But he's only ever had, the most he's ever gotten is 10 points. Where Otten has had good games.
I got you.
It wouldn't surprise me for them to drive down on Dallas and then Otten get 2 2-yard touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's a distinct possibility there, where Calcaterra, I don't believe would get that touchdown. Those touchdowns would go to AJ Brown in the corner because of the height. Not that Calcaterra doesn't have height; he's actually a pretty tall guy, but I just see that going to AJ Brown before I see it going to Calcaterra.
Would you go Mike Gesicki against Cleveland or Dalton Kincaid?
I don't like Kincaid at all. To be honest, I thought that Dallas should have kept Schultz.
Yeah, they should have.
Well, Kincaid's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Wasn't he with Dallas at some point?
No, he's in his second year.
No.
Because they have Kincaid predicted to get 10.6 against New England, and they have Gesicki predicted to get 9 against Cleveland. So
he's going against New England. That Buffalo is putting up points right now like it's going out of style.
Yep.
Yeah. And Kincaid actually just got a big deep ball the other night when the last game they played. He got a pretty good deep ball.
He got a big D, is what he said.
Yeah.
He's got a big D.
And they're going to get lots of opportunities because the Patriots are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Actually, just to give you an idea, Mike Gesicki is not even picked up in iLeague.
Yeah, funny thing was he wasn't picked up in ours, and then my tight end got hurt, so I picked him up, and then forgot he was on my bench. And when Kincaid had a bye week, I threw Gesicki in there, and that was that week that he had like 3 touchdowns and 100 yards receiving. I'm like, hey, this worked out well. And then I forgot to take him out of my starting lineup, and he played well for like 2 more games. But the last 2 games he sucked, so I went back to Kincaid. No.
So, yeah, the other thing that I would think of is Strange. Strange from Jacksonville for a 1-week flyer. Probably not a bad thing because of him going up against who he's going up against, and that's Las Vegas. So even though this is the toilet bowl of the week,
No question.
I think Strange could actually get a lot of points because he got a ton of points last week. So something to think about, and it's likely because it says he's only on 22% of rosters and he's only starting in 11%. So something to think about. He's only slated to get 7.7 points, but I think these experts sometimes don't have any idea.
Well, especially you said it's against the Raiders this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing left of that Raiders team. Like all their stars are hurt or gone.
Except for Brock Bowers. That's really about the only one they got over this, Brock Bowers. I mean, he's almost doing anything. But
And you were talking about McMillan, right?
Yeah, McMillan in Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, that he's actually available for pickup.
I would grab his ass.
Well, I don't have a lot of.
You said what? Oh, it's not allowed. I think how we're playing today. It's like so many puns. I can't keep track of them all.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten 20 points 2 weeks ago, 16 points last week.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and they're going up an easy defense. Like the defense, they're going up against Dallas, right? So, I know it's the secondary is ass right now, especially since Trey Diggs went down. That's why I think, if Mike Evans is covered, McMillan's going to reap the benefits.
And like McMillan's basically taking over the role that Chris Godwin had.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's had 3 touchdowns on 13 targets and 134 yards in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I'd probably play McMillan before you played Moore against Detroit. Honestly, number 1 because of the matchup, and number 2, like he said, he's taking Godwin.
No chance. There's no chance I would do that because one, you got a number 2 guy.
You gotta take it. Just
no. I'm listening. And the reason why I'm saying is that because you got a number 2 guy versus a number 1 guy, and then you have the number 4th, like the 4th and 5th cornerbacks over there. And
I know how good Moore is. Don't get it wrong. Like I told you earlier in pre-show, it's Caleb Williams that I'm not bought into.
Well, Caleb Williams put up 32 points against Detroit on Thanksgiving.
Again, I know, but he's streaky though.
That's still against Detroit's defense, though, who's even more hurt since that game against Chicago.
But there's got to be watch film and play you differently the second time.
Well, you know what? The way that game ended is going to actually play a part in this game. I think Chicago is going to come out for bear. That this is going to be very similar to the game. Detroit's got to outscore them now.
Yeah.
And they may outscore them, but I think you're going to see like a 40 to 36, 40 to 38 game, somewhere in that neighborhood. Definitely the over is what I would take in this game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know Detroit's defense is taking some hits. So if it's me, I would do a more clock management game to keep my defense off the field as much as possible. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get a big role in that if I was doing it. But
that's the thing against the Bears, though. That problem with that's a good strategy when you face the 49ers next week, because the 49ers offense is kind of in the same position as the Lions defense, where the 49ers offense has nobody left and the Bears defense has nobody, or the Lions defense. The Bears defense is prone to give up big plays. So even if you try to play like a game manager style, Jahmyr Gibbs is still going to break off a 45, 50-yard run, which
I understand.
that out anyways.
Yeah.
And really, I hope that that's a 50-yard pass to my
Jameson Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that that's what that is. I hope
I
it's
mean,
like four of them.
it should be because
let him get 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. That
I mean, he could because you look at the first time that the Vikings played the Bears, Justin Jefferson was held to 2 catches for 27 yards, and Jordan Addison went off for 172 and 2 touchdowns. So the chances are you're going to have Jalen Johnson guarding Amon-Ra St. Brown with Kevin Byard over the top, kind of for that single high safety look, which is going to put Jameson Williams on one-on-one with Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon might be more physical, but he can't run one-on-one with Jameson Williams.
St. Brown is just so friggin' good, though.
No, he is. Like he'll get
get
his catches, but he's probably, even if he has like 7-8 catches, it might be for 80 yards. Like he's not going to have like one of those big explosive plays. It just might be like those 10-11 yard kind of possession keepers, or he just keeps the chains moving where Williams will be the one getting the long balls because he's going to be in single coverage and he can outrun the Bears secondary.
I just think Zimmer is going to double team up on Evans, and I think that's going to open up the door for McMillan. I think McMillan is going to be due for a big game. I really do. But some good choices out there, Pags. Good choices. I hope you get the right one.
Let's see, because I mean, obviously, if not, I am going to be on Monday or Tuesday going.
And I'm going to be like this.
My sad face, like when I was at the Tampa Bay game. Just going.
So the season is over.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so, I mean,
want to play McMillan. Okay.
And I mean, I got Tracy Jr., who's actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
As a running back for the Giants. I mean, it's that he's been the one bright spot on that offense. I just need him to score a touchdown against Atlanta, or maybe 2. That would be nice. That would be sweet. Of course, if I pick up the guy from whoever it is, who's that one guy I'm trying to get? Ford. Mm-hmm. But Cleveland, that's what I don't like. It's
they play Cincinnati's defense, so like they'll get points.
Okay.
Like Jameson.
Yeah, well, and I guess I mean they got who's their quarterback now?
That's gonna be Dorian Thompson-Robinson, which he's gonna give Cincinnati points, but Cincinnati can't stop anybody anyway. So Ford will get your points. Everybody on Cleveland's offense will get your points.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough week this week with everybody hurt and stuff, and a whole changing of my roster here to get into the playoffs. I kind of feel like Detroit here.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, that's what's happening. So did anybody watch that amazing, incredible game that decided the championship of the NBA Cup?
No.
Not
at all.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but no.
Not at all.
Well, I will tell you that game stunk.
Yeah, that seems right.
97-81. I mean, not for nothing. The Thunder have only lost like 5 games or 4 games all season long, and they couldn't make a 3-pointer to save their lives, really. 5 for 32 from 3-point range.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, and then the Bucks, who stink out loud, wind up with 17 from 40 for 3 points. And, it was like literally this was as bad a game as you could get.
Yeah.
It was as bad a game as you can get. Straight out. Both of these teams average for more points per game than they play. And for the Bucks to win by 16, P.U.
Yeah.
P.U.
And Oklahoma City, really, one of the 3-pointers that they did make didn't even count, because if you watch, it was like with 0.1 and then no time left. It actually looked like the ball was out of his hands, and they didn't give him credit for it. And it was like down to like thousandths of a second They didn't have the frames enough frames to be able to get it so that it was able to show when it actually went to 0 and where the ball was and whether you could see any space between his fingers and stuff.
But I don't like the PPR rule.
What you doing there, Stat Guy?
I had a podcast thing that showed up on my phone because someone commented on something I put, so I clicked on the comment. I didn't know
what you were doing down there with your hands. We were talking about
I was thinking at least mute the porn.
No, I was just like, holy moly! I had that.
I thought it was like I thought he was doing like a soundbite, like that really sucks, doesn't it?
Right? No, I had that. I had that caps off. I had that caps off podcast on this morning
because not come that prepared to this show.
Yeah, I had the caps off podcast on this morning, and there's four hosts on there, and like 3 of the 4 hosts are finally giving Minnesota a little bit respect, but then the one host is a Bears fan, and he refuses to give like Minnesota any credit because he's a Bears fan or whatever. And the guy's like, what if Minnesota runs the table, gets home field, makes it to the Super Bowl, then are they going to get respect? He's like, no, they have Sam Darnold as their quarterback. And the guy looks at him, he's like, the Sam Darnold that's playing well, or what Sam Darnold are we watching?
That really does suck there, doesn't it?
He's terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
I do think you owe us $200, the company, because, you kind of interrupted our thing here, Stat Guy. So
I don't think so. But I know this is a great segue for...
That's right. Might as well, right? If you're into sports betting, you can do it right alongside us here on Coast to Coast. Up to 125% of your first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee in case you actually bet alongside us here on Coast to Coast. Use that QR code. What's that?
Unless you're in Seattle.
Unless you're in Seattle, because we're not allowed to legally sports bet, which is super dumb. Although there is a workaround. You can do it with crypto, because apparently you can bet on a bet. So, so we got that going for us. And then, of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, you can use this QR code here for a free 5-day pass at any of the 3 True Fusion gyms: Bellevue, Ballard, University Village, Pilates Bootcamp, Yoga, and more. Find your edge, True Fusion Gym. All right.
I laugh he doesn't say, they just open up a casino
anymore. He does not say bar anymore.
Okay. Well, there's bar too, so you can do.
Hey, they just opened up a casino 45 minutes from the house. I don't know. I thought that's a good thing or a bad thing. I gotta stay away from
that. They opened up a casino 45 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
Is there Indians that close?
Yeah, apparently. Okay. Apparently. I didn't realize they were, but
we have one about 45 minutes away too.
Yeah. So I'm looking. So when you guys come to Houston, we're doing barbecue in the casino. Bring your money.
Go. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing is, if you want to legally sports bet here in Washington, you have to do it at one of the reservation casinos. And if you're in the Seattle area, there's one 45 minutes away at Snoqualmie. So I mean, it's available. You just can't use betting apps, stuff like that.
That's interesting. Okay.
Got you. That's
which is really dumb when you think of the fact that weed's legal, and like there's so many other things. I don't know why we can't figure out how to do
weed,
betting.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about legalizing all drugs up there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like it's absolutely ridiculous that you can do all that stuff and you can't.
Well, they don't want you. They don't want you taking mushrooms and betting.
I mean, at least when you lose, it'd be entertaining.
Could the casino charge like a small percentage of that bet if it was done on the app? If you did it at the casino, I mean, they could make money off that.
No, you have to do it in person. You have to do it in person.
Okay.
Because you have to be on reservation land because it's illegal everywhere else in Washington State. So,
I got you. Okay.
It's so bizarre. I mean, especially when you go as far as we have safe injection sites. So they'll let you go do heroin and do nothing about it, but you can't sports bet. Like, I don't know.
What? You did heroin?
I don't know what we're doing here. What's that?
I can just see that. Your heroin's okay. It's okay. But the betting, gotta stop.
Sports betting, no. And it really doesn't make sense from the government end of it. Like, why wouldn't they want the tax dollars from it?
Of course.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Main takeaway: Washington figure it out.
Yeah. Betting is a huge part
Well,
of the
I
economy.
got to imagine. So, I mean, not for nothing, and I don't know. I only know a little bit, a very small amount about Washington State history
Sure.
and Seattle history itself. I'd be willing to bet that the reason why there was a lot of homeless originally up in that corner was due to gambling. And there's probably something that it's probably old laws that prohibited gambling as a
Ye-
whole because of homelessness.
I
So
mean,
I'd have to
sure,
imagine.
we had a lot of brothels too. I mean, so like,
You did. Well, that's you take the underground tour, you find out all about brothels. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
That was at the underground tour. It was
No,
about.
absolutely. In fact, in the little town that I live in, there was multiple because this is where a lot of logging happened before Everett became a city. The little town I live in was here before that. So this was the little port town kind of thing. And so, yeah, there was a lot of brothels and stuff like that right here in this little town.
Yeah,
But
you
they
know
still
what
are. You
the
just gotta go find them.
the biggest disease in brothels were?
Syphilis? I don't know.
Pregnancies.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Hey,
mean,
well,
That was the big that, and they said that during the tour. The biggest
wow.
disease that spread in brothels in Seattle was pregnancies.
That's
that was the
yeah.
one thing that you did not want to catch.
Wow.
there is
Yeah.
no doubt.
I mean, how does that work when you go to court? Well, Your Honor, I gave her $100. I didn't.
I mean, you're talking the
Yeah,
1800s. I doubt it was that serious.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like you'd have a brothel and then you'd have the nursery.
I'm sorry, son. I know you don't see your mother all that often, but she's on the corner right now. So just relax.
That's exactly right, Joe. It makes no sense.
But anyways, so nobody bet on that basketball game anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, nobody bet, nobody watched, nobody cares. The in-season cup is dumb.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it at all.
Even if Stat Guy loves the court, you know what they can do? They can just pick the court throughout the season. They don't have to.
I don't like the in-season. Like, I don't mind the in-season tournament during the group stages because it doesn't feel like you're in the in-season tournament. It feels like just a normal game because you're playing games at each other's venue.
Oh, you don't want it when you can't tell it's happening. I got you.
Yeah, like when you get to Las Vegas and you're using the actual like Las Vegas arena where it's like saying everything like no, this is like dumb now because now you're not even playing at your own venue. You're on a neutral site. Like this is stupid. Like just keep it going on each other's courts and then just do it like a standings type of thing where wait until the All-Star break to maybe play the championship for the in-season cup. Like why do you have to do it middle of the season when everybody else thinks it's like 5-6 days off that doesn't make it to the knockout round? Wait till the All-Star weekend because they want to get rid of the All-Star game anyways. Use that weekend for the in-season championship.
And have everybody show up.
Right?
Well, I mean, you look at the new All-Star game format anyways, you might as well have everybody show up because there's going to be 4 All-Star teams now instead of 2.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Wait,
What is
what?
that, 3-on-3?
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a new format where you're going to have basically a West Coast team, an East Coast team, a South team, and a North team. So now they're going to have basically 4 All-Star teams instead of 2, and it's going to be 2 teams going against each other. The winner of those 2 games will face each other again for like a champion type thing.
They're doing a Final Four layout for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
That's
dumb.
Yeah.
That is
Kevin
dumb.
Durant hates it. A lot of the athletes hate it.
I like
Is
that
that what
the
you're talking about when
NBA gets more gimmicky every year.
It
Like
does.
way to just really try and ruin a sport.
So now we're going to have 3 games that they score 600 points a game.
Exactly. That is ridiculous. Do they do they get to reseed the team? Like once they go to the championship, then they combine the 2 teams? That seems something ridiculous the NBA would do.
I mean, that's the one sport where I would be okay with. Well, the Pro Bowl already got rid of the All-Star game, but NBA is the one sport where I would be okay if they just did away with the All-Star game and just do the stupid skill, or not stupid, but just do the skills competitions. You want to play the game, do the Rising Stars game, because those guys actually take it serious. Like the Rising Stars game, those players take it serious, and then just do a bunch of skills competitions, because that's ultimately what people go to the All-Star venues for anyways, is to watch the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, and all the other stuff that comes with it.
That is true. And they need to go back to an East-West format. I don't know why they did this 14, but it should be an East. If you are gonna do it, do East-West. I don't get it.
What I think they should do is they should go play flag football.
Yes.
Because I would love to watch a whole bunch of freaking basketball players try to play football.
Could you imagine all the injuries that would come out of that?
That would be fun. That would be fun to watch.
Exactly. Especially since they're like, we could play in the NFL, no problem. It's like, okay, let's see you do it.
Let's go, LeBron. Let's see you suit up.
You know what? I am trying my best to be able to get in on the so in the off season, Devonta Smith has a charity softball game.
Okay.
And I'm trying my best to get in on the game. I want to play in the game.
Sure.
Because I've played slow pitch softball. I could play in this game without a problem. And it's hysterical watching football players play softball. There are some people who could play. Yep. Terrell Owens could smack some home runs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Jason Kelsey could smack some home runs. You know what I mean? These guys could swing a bat. You know who can't swing a bat even a little bit? Saquon Barkley. He can truck people over. He can run for 200 yards. He's an amazing football player and a tremendous athlete. He can't swing a bat to save his life.
That's where you start bunting. You can't bunt.
No. He swings full, and it winds up being a bunt. That's what I'm saying. It trickles, like he swings and it trickles to the pitcher. You know what I mean? It's
he must be confident. He must be going either too high or too
and that's what it is. That's what it's like. It's like when you watch football players play softball. Like I can imagine if you watched basketball players playing football, like that would be funny.
Oh, no question.
That would be.
Yeah,
I do think
players.
Yama though would probably break an ankle. They're just so damn tall and skinny. I see injuries coming from that, like a lot of injuries.
I just want to see him throw the football. Like that already seems funny in itself.
Well, that was like when Clay Matthews used to play for the Packers, and they have the Brett Favre charity softball game in Wisconsin. But now I don't know who. I think it's Jordan Love now, obviously. But Clay Matthews never played baseball a day in his life, and he got invited to the softball game. So he goes up there, grabs the bat, and he's trying to figure out which one to use. He swung so hard that he ended up spinning himself around and hitting himself in the head with the bat.
I'm not mad at that.
And completely whiffed on the ball. And I'm like, that's when you've never played baseball before.
Well, and that's exactly it. These guys have no idea. You know what I mean? It's like they may have played like pickup games of baseball. Like
sure.
I can imagine, not for nothing, that Russell Wilson at a charity softball game would probably play really well.
Well, yeah, he was an MLB
baseball.
Yeah, he was an MLB
baseball.
Yeah.
Same with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, exactly.
Kyler Murray with Jameis Winston too, because Jameis Winston used to be with Texas A&M and was one of the best center fielders in the country when he was at Texas A&M. He'd probably go and hit 450.
Well, he got benched, so he's probably looking for something to do.
I'm pretty sure he's fine with making $80 million and sitting back on the bench.
He'll make $8 million. I mean, if you're riding the bench, it doesn't take a whole lot to ride a bench.
Jay, if the Dallas Cowboys called you today and said, we'll give you $8 million to hold Cooper Rush's clipboard, you'd be like, fine, I'll be there tomorrow.
No question.
You give me that kind of money, I'll wash his car, all that stuff. I'll do the whole nine. Yeah, I'd love to have that opportunity.
Right.
Come on.
What's going on? Why is this?
So I guess on the basketball end, you got AJ Wilson, $28 million Nike contract, largest shoe deal for WNBA players.
For now. Cool. For now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever.
No,
that is huge. That's big news. I mean,
I'm surprised that she was the first
largest. That is every largest contract is always for now.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised that that she's been the one that's gotten one this big, though. I'm surprised that Sabrina Ionescu hasn't gotten one bigger. I'm surprised that Diana Taurasi, when she was in her prime, didn't get one like bigger than that. And just some of the players that play now.
I'm not, because the viewership has jumped exponentially over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not really surprised, because it's not a good place to drop money, right? Like, it was something that viewers weren't watching. If you're an advertiser, there's no benefit to it because nobody's watching. Like, at the end of the day, it's all advertising dollars. Right. So if there's no eyeballs on it, they're not paying for it, because why would you? It's just
I gotta imagine Caitlin Clark's going to get a big.
Caitlin Clark's probably get $100 million.
No question, right? Like, as soon as her,
if it wasn't for her, I don't even think that they would be getting the contracts or the endorsements they're getting now, because she's the one that really put the spotlight back on the WNBA.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially now, right? Like, whenever her current deal comes up, yeah, she's going to reset the market again, no question. Especially, now that she's the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, right? So, I mean, she just continues to get accolades. So, yeah, when her current deal comes up, I have no doubt that the next one will be significantly bigger.
Oh, yeah. Stag, I got a question. I know you're an FCS guy. Like, that's your big shtick. Mm-hmm. I just saw on ESPN, man, where the Ivy League now is going to be in the FCS playoffs. What do you think about that? How's that make you?
It's been a long time coming. That conference, and then the SWAC, which is where Jackson State and a lot of those all-black colleges are. Those are like the only two conferences that have never been to the FCS playoffs before. Next year, the Ivy League is going in, and I believe in 2026 or 2027, the SWAC will be eligible for the FCS. Two of the differences with that, when the first round of the FCS playoffs take place, you have the SWAC championship. So they're gonna have to redo their entire schedule there. And for the last 50 years, you've had the winner of the SWAC conference taking on the winner of the other conference for that Celebration Bowl. So now the question is, do you eliminate that bowl, or if you have the champion from that conference qualify for the FCS, do you just take the team that finished second place and throw them in that bowl? So there's going to be a lot of hurdles for that conference to kind of clear before they get it. But the Ivy League, all they do every year is just play an 8-game schedule. They pretty much just play each other in the Ivy League, and then that's it. Now they're going to be expanding their schedule to 11 games so they can get the right criteria to qualify for the playoffs. It's going to be the same 3 teams every year. It's either going to be Harvard, Yale, or Dartmouth, because those are really the only 3 teams that know how to win football games up in the Ivy League.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
But I think it's good, obviously, for the FCS, and that's kind of, I think, the main reason why the FBS went to the playoff format they have now, because the FCS takes 24 teams, where the top 8 seeds have the first round bye as opposed to the top 4 seeds in the FBS. And then every round of the playoffs, the higher seed is the one hosting up until the national championship game, which is always in Frisco, Texas. The FBS is kind of going that route where the opening rounds of their college football playoff has the higher seed hosting. And then the next round, you go to the neutral sites. If they go to a 16-team playoff, I think it'll be the first 2 rounds where the higher seed hosts. And then once you get to the Final 4, then you'll go to the neutral sites, just because there won't be enough time to have all those teams find all these bowl games to get into. You're going to have to do basically the first 2 rounds on home fields.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
The FCS still has the best names, though. I mean, you got the Jackrabbits and the Bison this week, and you got the Bobcats and the Coyotes.
Yeah, those are called
I like the Bobcats
okay.
or the Coyotes. Well, the Coyotes was a hockey team. So
yeah, you got the South Dakota Coyotes, you got the Montana State Bobcats this week, and then Jackrabbits and the Bison.
Jackrabbit Slims.
Jackrabbits are good. They could hold their own in the FBS. Same with the Bison. They could both hold their own in the FBS if they went to like Mountain West.
What, North Dakota State
University?
North Dakota State and South Dakota State University.
If they plan to join they plan to go to the Mountain West in 2026. But if they would go now, they'd probably hold their own in that conference and still qualify for a bowl game.
So I guess on college football front, are you surprised that Vic decided not to take Sacramento State and go back? I mean, he picks the school where it's close to home, but Sacramento State, they're going to be moving into a bigger conference in theory. And they listed having 50 million of NIL money coming into this year. So it seems
crazy.
like I get the idea of wanting to coach a school that's close to your house, right? But at the same time, it seems like opportunities probably higher, although pressure would be significantly higher also, to have taken that job with the amount of assets that you would get.
Yeah, in other words, the Sacramento job is more attractive.
I think a lot of it has to do.
Base. Yeah,
I think a lot of it has to do with the school though too, because Norfolk State is another one of those schools where it's primarily black athletes, and Michael Vick is a big ambassador for like African American and minority type athletes. So I think just kind of having that connection and knowing like he's a big supporter of like the minority athletes, it makes sense for him to stay there because now you have the biggest name you've ever had coaching that program. You're an ambassador for the African Americans. You're an ambassador for all these minorities. It just makes sense for you to stay at that program. Just build that program up to the level that you want it, and then maybe pursue something bigger, kind of like what Deion Sanders did, where he built Jackson State up to where he wanted it. Then he kind of handed it off to his assistant and went to Colorado. I could see Vic doing the same thing, spending another couple of years at Norfolk State, building him up, and then trying his luck again.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like with the available assets, the other job would have been more attractive for sure.
You're going to see that with Eddie George next year, I think.
Yeah.
Because Eddie George is at Tennessee State right now, and they just had not only their first winning season in 18 years, but they qualified for their first FCS playoff in school history, and they almost upset the number 4 seed in the first round, and he's got 1 year left on his contract in Tennessee State, so I think he'll try to get to the FBS after next year.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Should be interesting. So Norfolk State, is that an HBCU or is it just it is?
It's not considered an HBCU, but like 90% of their athletes are African American. It's not a full HBCU school, but they play a lot of the HBCU programs just because of where they're located.
Okay. Interesting.
I think their entire football team, I think they said they had 83 players on their football team. They have 79 that are African American. They only have two Caucasian players, and then they have 2 other minorities on their team. So it's pretty much an all-black football team at Norfolk State.
Interesting.
Right on.
And that being said,
right? I mean, that does pretty much get us to the end of the show here. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. And, of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. See y'all tomorrow.
Later, guys.
See you.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live